Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks and welcome to Inkdependence.com. Today we are looking at this ink right here. This is KyoIro Moonlight of Higashiyama. And as you can see, there's literally a drop of this left in this vial. I've used a lot of this ink. And that's because I like it. This actually is probably my favorite of these KyoIros so far. And that counts Kaio no Otos and all these things. So this is a cool one. I've had this in 2 pens. I've been using it in actually 2 Franklin Christoph pens. It just kind of turns out that way. This one is a Model 2, which I picked up at a show. This is a pretty cool one. It's kind of like this, I don't know, off-white taupe sort of body with a black finial, and then a black section, and then a black nib. So I think it's kind of dope looking, especially posted. That's a cool looking pen, right? This has a broad sig, so I've been using it in that. The sig nib is the stub italic gradient. It's in between an italic and a stub, really. And the broad sig is probably my very favorite of these nibs. This is a Franklin Christoph Model 31. This material is made by Jonathan Brooks of Carolina Pen Company, and it comes in like this kind of blue blackish, and then there's like a red one and like a green one. And these are pretty tight as well. And I love this has these like matching bands. It's entirely by accident. Like I don't know if they can really plan that stuff. And this one's rocking a Franklin Christoph Sig nib. But this is also a flex nib. This is a extra fine Sig flex. I'll have a video on these coming up soon. They're not really making the Sig extra fine flex anymore, I hear, because it's just it's a real pain to make. So I think they're just not going to really be doing those much. But I will have a video on those coming up very soon. It's a cool nib. Here, whoa, yeah, there we go. It's settled down a little bit. Came in pretty hot, actually. Let me adjust some lights. And as you can see, this is a hard color to really classify. I think it's mostly an orange, I guess, but it's also kind of a red. Like it's a little bricky in here, especially when you use this extra fine flex sig, as I did here. It comes off fairly dark, like not quite maroon, but a very dark, like brick red sort of thing going on. And so that's pretty cool. As I say here, this is my normal Rhodia paper. This is the flow on here, I would say, is probably medium. It's not wet at all, but it certainly has no problems flowing. Of course, I have had it in a flex nib and a broad sig. So neither of these nibs, well, this one nib is pretty darn wet, but it's on a good amount, but it doesn't go crazy. So I'm going to say this is a medium wet. All right, here we have performance. Let me show you the performance on this guy. It's actually pretty impressive. This line here, this is the Staples 20-pound copy paper that I always use for my office paper test. This is pretty much as average as paper can get. And the top line is, of course, written with that extra fine sig flex, and the bottom is written with the broad sig. You see the bottom is much more orangey red, and the top is much more bricky red. That's just because you're putting down more ink in a smaller space, that kind of jazz. Now, on the back, this is the performance bit. Come here. This paper doesn't want to cooperate. You can see there's really barely any bleed through here, even with the flex nib, which is a good deal wetter than the other. So, yeah, good job, KyoIro, making this ink, because it performs really well even on kind of crap coffee paper. All right, let's throw that out of the way. Junk. Let's see, other stuff. Qualities, as far as that goes. There is shading, as you can definitely see here in this swatch, and you can see some here. There's more in the swatch, I think, than there is in the actual pens, even though I was using broad flex, or broad sigs and these kind of things. Let's get a little bit closer. You don't really see a ton of shading, but a little bit. So a little bit of that. But no sheen. I haven't detected any sheen on this guy at all. A lot of inks these days are really tending towards sheen as a way to make it interesting, and this one just doesn't do that. So this is a shader, or kind of solid really, but no sheen. So if you're a sheen hater, cool. Now, here's the thing that I like about this ink. I'm a big fan of it because it's saturated enough. Some of these inks from the KyoIro and Kaio no Oto lines seem to be a little bit undersaturated to me, and they're just not very exciting when they're undersaturated. And I was worried about this one because if you look at the little O-ring that I put on the top here, this is just a paper hole reinforcement sort of thing. It comes across as a little bit, like a little pale, a little washed out perhaps, and I wasn't excited about that. But I decided to go ahead and give it a shot anyway because somebody told me it was dope, and they were right. So definitely saturated enough. It's an interesting color that I can't really define. It's got a nice flow and it feels pretty smooth. Now when I show you color comparisons here at the end, you'll see there's a bunch of browns in there too because I was trying to come close, but it was hard. All right, let's go ahead and do the water test right quick. And then we'll take a look at chromatography. We'll take a look at color comparisons. All right. So there it is, kind of beating up nicely. You can definitely see some of the red coming away. I don't really have high hopes for this one as far as being water resistant, but you never know. Sometimes they've surprised me. Let's give it a little bit of a jiggle. Yeah, good. Okay. And wipe it up here. No wiping, just blotting. I'm being very safe. All right, there we go. And yeah, so this one surprised me a little bit. It's got a little bit more water resistance than I was anticipating because you can still see where the dots and lines were, and you can still make out that it said water test. So if you just happen to spill some water on this one, you'll probably be okay, but it's not exactly water resistant. Let's take a look at the chromatography right quick. And this is what you end up with, which is really pretty, but kind of single note. It's lighter down here, but this is definitely where the color went. It started here, down to this totally blank space. That's why I wasn't really expecting much, but you never know exactly what you're going to get with these things. So yeah, you left this pretty clear, nothing really there. And then just sort of strong red tones. There's no, not a particularly complex ink. Maybe a little bit of orange in there I'm seeing, but that's about it. All right, let's look at this on a couple other papers before I get to color comparisons. I totally forgot to do this. Here it is. This is an Inky Fingers currently inked notebook. So this is wheat straw paper. And we have a couple of examples of it here. So this is from the Flex Sig. Inked that up back in December. And then here, I inked this one up in November. So I've been using this for a while in these two pens, and that's why I have like 0 left. But yeah, it looks really nice and looks pretty similar between the two. It's a little bit darker here than it is here just because it had aged in the pen a skosh, but still pretty orange. Definitely more orange on the Flex Sig, but much wetter nib. And then here we have them on Tomoe River. I have to turn it this way, maybe. Running out of room here on my desk. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Good. And you can see it looks really nice on Tomoe River as well. Not hugely nicer than it looks on the wheat paper, which is kind of nice. I like an ink that can perform in all sorts of venues, and this one's definitely got that covered. So that's cool. There you go. And as you can see, a little bit of shading, but even no sheen, even on Tomoe River, which will give you sheen if ever it will. All right. So that's that. And then I have one more, actually. This is a note card that I got. I'm pretty sure this is Life or something like this. I definitely got this from Jet Pens, and these are really nice sort of note card 3x5 guys. No bleed through at all. You can't even see through the back of the page what was on there. So if you want to make notes on small things, this is good. And it's got a little hole already punched for putting a ring through or whatever. And I think that looks really nice on this. This is actually a card that I used to post it on Instagram a little while ago. Okay, so let's look at some color comparisons. Now here's the hitch. When I came upstairs to try to sort of put these in an organization so that they can, like, I don't know, make some sense as color comparisons, I found that I cannot find my actual color swatch for this. So we're going to take our handy dandy color ring ink testing book. This is from Anna Reinert over at Well Appointed Desk. Definitely check these guys out if you haven't already. As you can see, I've only got about 5 of these left, so I've got to restock on these. But let's go ahead and make one live, because why not? And I'm actually going to have to take it out of the pen. Let me back the camera up just a little bit, because I just don't have any left in this vial. I have to shake the vial out on the paper, and that's not how I want to do it. All right, so I'm just going to twist the converter slowly, so I only get a drop or so. You don't need much to do one of these color swatches. I think it's actually kind of better if you have less. All right. Let's put this guy back together. All right. And then this is my letter opener that I like to spread them around with. Let's give it a little bit of smooshing around. I like to leave some dark areas where it pools, and I like to leave some light where it kind of spreads out. That gives you more of an idea of what the shades are going to be in this ink. All right, so that's done. Now all I have to do is write the name of the thing across the top, and we will be good. I got it last year in 2017. All right, so thank you very much to Anderson Pens for sending this out for review. It has been a cool ink to review. Let's look at it next to a whole bunch of other things that may be a little bit similar to it. As I said, this is a tough one to nail down. So here's one that I've been playing with recently, and that's Califolio Itzamna. And as you can see, sort of as it dries, it's going to get a little bit lighter, I think. But these are actually kind of close. Itzamna's definitely ends up being more of an orange. Then next to it, something more red. I think you can probably definitely see the difference between these two. This is Sailor's Bumebox Omazaki Sunset. So there you go. There's a couple of those. Let's go ahead and take away this one because it's too orange and add in Monteverde's Mandarin Orange, which is actually kind of red, I think. And those look really pretty together, but this one is, again, quite a bit different. Let's get rid of those. We have Nuller's Habanero, which some of y'all might know. It's kind of close to Apache Sunset, but I like Habanero a lot more. It's actually usable as an ink. It's a little bit lighter usually than it comes off on this card, but that's the way these things go sometimes. And let's get into some browns and reds and that sort of thing. So red browns, we have firstly Toucan Sienna, and secondly Monteverde Canyon Rust. Canyon Rust is a really cool ink, I think, and Toucan Sienna actually is too. It was one of my favorites out of that Toucan line. I think you really only find these at Anderson Pens. I haven't used a Toucan in a little while. I got these in 2015, so it's been a little bit, but I have reviewed every Toucan ink, I believe, on the blog, so you can check those out there. And then Monteverde Canyon Rust is actually pretty close to the old Franklin Christoph Terra Firma. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty darn close. It's actually also a little bit close in the terms of like the very lightest bit of shading you get there to my current favorite from them, which is Sweet Maroon. So this is an ink that I was bound to love. But both of these are quite a bit different than Higashiyama here. One of them's too red, the other one's too brown, but both are kind of red-browns. Now here we have Red Chalk, which has never actually looked red to me. This is Mont Blanc's limited edition from quite a while ago, actually. And that actually also looks a bit like Terra Firma from, actually this looks a lot like Terra Firma from Franklin Christoph, although they came out years apart. And this one's chalkier. And this one is called, this is called Brandy Dazzle. It's a Shimmer-tastic ink, but you can barely see the shimmer in this particular swatch. I'm not sure how that happened, but just must not have gotten very much shimmer on my card. But it's much more orangey, brownish, even than Higashiyama is. It's much lighter as well. It's going to be more like brandy or cognac or something. And then Red Chalk, of course, is kind of reddish. So there we go. Here's a couple of browns just to even it out, because this kind of lives in that space between orange, red, and brown, I think. It's actually fairly close to this Pelican Brown. Pelican Brown is noticeably different, but they're kind of close, which is odd. And then over here, Platinum Mix Free Earth Brown, which is a straight up brown. And you can see that they're quite a bit different. So it's not a brown, it's not exactly an orange, it's not a red. I'm not sure what to call this, and I'm also not sure why it's called Moonlight, because I've never seen Moonlight like this. But this is a pretty cool ink, so I urge you to check this one out. I got this sample from Anderson Pens. Thank you very much to Anderson Pens for sending this out for review. It has been good times. Stop rolling away. Sample vial. Hang out there. Nope. There. Boom. Gotcha. And then got a couple of Franklin Christoph pens here. So definitely go check this out at andersonpens.com. These come in smallish bottles, but they are definitely pretty cool, and they're kind of one of the new kids on the block. So check out KyoIro's Moonlight of Higashiyama, and I will see y'all later. Peace out.